Is cholesterol really bad for people? The study I read on that blew my mind. How people die younger with low cholesterol and people with the highest cholesterol live longer.
My partner, Dr. Christopher Davis, he speaks about it. He says cholesterol isn't bad for you. Cholesterol isn't the issue for heart disease.
Cholesterol is just as important as water and food.
Meet Dr. Yahki Elohim, a PhD biochemist, master herbalist, author, and founder of the Yahki Health and Wellness Detox Institute in Missouri.
He's globally known for blending mind, body, spirit healing with advanced herbal science to combat chronic inflammation, cancer, dementia, and gut issues.
I have literally detoxed over 150,000 people, documented. And what we see is a lot of people come in and don't heal or don't receive what they want is because of their mindset. We have been taught on this fact. You have symptoms, your body is not working right, this is the disease. We never been taught to sit down and say, let me study the physiology and the mechanism behind this disease and see what's happening to my body.
Would you say that stress can kill somebody?
Stress does kill.
Is there a difference between good stress and bad stress?
The body needs stress. Stress is very, very important as well.
So what do you recommend when it comes to enhancing the detox pathways?
I would say eating food that favors alkalinity, natural fruits, vegetables, nuts, herbs, things of that sort.
Dr. Yahki, man, why is America so sick?
The first thing is...
Welcome to another episode of A Healthy Point of View podcast. I'm your host, Sam Tahada, and as usual, we're bringing experts from all over the world to talk about health, wellness, beauty, and mindset. Today, we have a guest who comes into town. This is a guy that you've seen him on all the different platforms. He's actually changing the course of healthcare. You're talking about someone who's actually deep into the culture, right? We've seen so many different things happening within our culture, especially the Black and brown community, where we're exposed to the ultra processed foods because we're living in these food deserts, but it doesn't have to be that way. Disease should not be taking over our body. We're actually going to talk today about what disease really is and what we've been programmed to think what disease is. Today we have an expert who you've seen talk on all the big platforms. You've probably seen one of his famous interviews with 19 Keys. And today he's going to bring all of that knowledge here on A Healthy Point of View podcast. Today we have Dr. Yahki Elohim. He goes by Dr. Yahki Awakened. Dr. Yahki Awakened, man, pleasure to be here, brother. All right.
How you doing, man?
Brother, I'm excited to have you here. This is a podcast I've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been following you for quite a while. You know, we had the opportunity to connect when you came down here to South Florida and came and walked through one of our wellness centers.
One of y'all beautiful wellness centers. It was amazing.
I appreciate it. And you and I talk a lot of the same language because, you know, we've seen how broken our medical system here in the United States truly is.
Yeah.
And, you know, my 12 years working in the fire department as a firefighter paramedic, you know, I thought it was going to be the most rewarding job, saving people's lives, but only 10% of the 911 calls was actually that, you know, going into a burning building or extricating somebody out of a car accident. 90% of it was me being a product to the broken medical system and just seeing people just circle down the drain when it comes to their health. So that's where I told myself, says, you know what? I got to go a different route. We got to go more that proactive, preventative approach and focus on the root cause, not these just simple signs and symptoms and whatnot. And I know you have your own story of what really got you into more of the natural healing. And I want people to kind of get to know you more of who Dr. Yahki truly is and what really started this journey. And then we're going to get into the good stuff after that.
Okay. Well, basically, I grew up in the streets of St. Louis, which is one of the most terrible neighborhoods in the United States of America. And, you know, growing up was a lot of gang activity going on out there. So, you know, as a culture and as a community, we are already ancestrally a tribal people. So naturally, I got involved in groups and cliques and gangs and, you know, it was just, I adapted a lot of bad habits. So, you know, I was drinking, smoking, recreational cocaine, eating ultra processed foods, chicken, lamb, everything every single day. And eventually you do all of these things and you sleep deprived, things catch up with you. So I ended up developing scar tissue on my heart, I had very, very high cholesterol. Can't wait till we talk about that later.
Mhm.
Just a whole lot of things going on with my body. And at the age of 21, I had an incident where I had a heart attack, a literal heart attack.
At 21.
21. Now, prior to that, I used to go to the hospital a lot for heart issues. Remember, I was saying I had scar tissue on my heart,
Right.
and it was from all the drinking and, again, all the drugs and all of the bad foods that I was eating. So, just getting in trouble, in and out the streets, eating wrong, it kept me in the hospital a lot. I had high blood pressure. My kidneys was not functioning properly at all. They even talked about dialysis at one point. I had bad insulin resistance, diabetes. I had black neck syndrome, where your neck gets super super dark because of the hyperpigmentation of melanin coming in to try to help secure areas. I would just toenail fungus, fingernail fungus, everything was wrong with me. But I had the heart attack, and before the heart attack, my mother, everybody's telling me, man, you need to change your life. Like you gaining all of this weight. Mind you, I'm 5'6". I was up to 260 pounds.
260.
And that wasn't for a long period of time, but at the time that I had the heart attack, I was that weight. And I believe that contribute to a lot to do with the heart attack as well. So, man, I get to the hospital. I'm in a hospital actively having a heart attack. The doctor came in. The doctor was like, not you again. Because remember, I was kind of like a hypochondriac, do all of these all these drugs, drink, smoke, then get a heart scare and run to the hospital. So he seen me, he thinking it's the same thing, but this time it was real.
It was a real one.
So he looked at me, he like, man, you got to change. He like, you are having a heart attack as we speak. So I'm on a bed and I'm just scared. And I don't know, this particular time, it just changed something in my life. I'm like, I got to do better. So I get home after, I was there for about 4 or 5 days. I get home, they gave me some medicine, of course, because that's what a lot of them are trained to do. And I was just done, man. I threw away everything, threw away all my weed I had. I was just done with everything, feeling depressed. And I ended up sitting down on my chair and kicking up my feet on the table, and I knocked over the medicine that they had just gave me. And I said, man, I can't do this. So I got on YouTube. And at this time, YouTube wasn't real popular, but it was popular to the point where I knew I can get on it and look up, natural ways to heal this, natural ways to heal that, because I couldn't get an erection because the hypertension medicine I was taking was keeping my blood from flowing properly in that area. Mind you, I'm 21.
Wow.
So what I did was I typed in natural cures for erection. That was the first one I looked up. Then I looked up natural cures for heart disease, and a few people popped up. I listened to them, but it wasn't resonating with my spirit. But they had just came out with this subjection thing. Basically, once a video move on, it's another video that pop up. And I seen a tall, skinny, dark, bald head man with a gray beard. And this is exactly what he said. My name is Dr. Sabi. I healed sickle cell anemia, leukemia, all of these diseases. And I'm like, man, he is fibbing. He is not telling the truth. But some just told me to sit there and keep listening to him. And the more and more I listened, the more it resonated and things started making sense.
How many hours did you actually
48 hours straight. 48 hours. I sat on the couch for 2 days, and I started off without a notepad, ended up with a notepad and pen. About time I got done listening to Dr. Sabi, I knew where his research institute was. I knew that was based in Usha. They had Usha Village. I knew about his wife at the time, my aunt. She was in New York. So I'm calling around trying to find him.
You go all in.
I did all of it. So basically, I ended up, learning about a few herbs. And I said, you know what? I think my first step is I need to study herbology. So then I started getting in contact with a lot of people. And I remember talking to somebody from Jamaica, and he was like, herbology, cool. You can study herbology, but you need to focus on your diet. And that was the first time that was the real correlation between my heart attack and all of the so-called diseases I was suffering from and what I was putting in my body. So I took herbal courses, took an herbal class, and I became a master herbalist. It took me 2.5 years. But on that journey, I started learning about nutrition. And I took a bunch of nutritional science classes from Stanford University, got my certification certificates and stuff while doing it from them and the University of Adelaide. I just started applying for a bunch of courses and learning all of this knowledge. And I said, let me do a solid food vacation, because I was real hooked onto another one named John Rose, another healer,
Okay.
Caucasian man. He's elder. He's like in his 70s and have an 8-pack,
Wow.
pecs, muscular, and he just like live in the wilderness. And he talk about how raw food, it needs its enzymes, and these enzymes push the mineral content. He's real deep with it. So I said, let me do a solid food vacation. I said, I'm gonna set out to do 90 days. I completed my 90 days. After I completed my 90 days, I felt so good. I said, look, I'm gonna keep going.
Why
So,
90 days though?
because that's what he had recommended.
Okay.
He recommended 90 days. So his thing was in 90 days, and I say this to all of my clients that come to my nutritional clinic and come to my detoxification facility now. Give me 90 days. I'll change your life if you just give me 90 days. And I got
It's
that from
interesting
him.
that you say that, because any patients that go through a medically supervised weight loss program or anything, we always recommend you got to give it at least 90 days
Got to.
see that noticeable effect.
And it's a beautiful thing, because when you look at how when blood dies off and being rebirthed, and you go through your stages of autophagy, how bone regrowth occur, and just autophagy, and how cells recycle themselves. Every single cell in your body have to die off, and new cells are being rebirthed, and that's about a 90-day process. So
Right.
it makes sense that we all are thinking and speaking that same language. So I went on that 90-day fast. I felt so amazing. I lost so much weight. The first week, I literally lost like 35 pounds. I dropped it. So my whole family thought I was sick, thought I was dying, thought I had incurable STD.
It's the complete opposite.
Yeah, and I'm healing.
Right.
And this is why now I say I didn't lose weight. I lost waste, cellular metabolic waste. So I felt so good after the 90 days. I went to 120. After 120, my mother kept saying, you need to go back to the doctor just to get checked up. You don't look good. You know, your skin flabby. You need to tell you, like, what's going on with you? So I went back to the doctor. Guess what? All the scar tissue on my heart, gone.
Wow.
No more diabetes, blood sugar, A1C regulated. I mean, everything, kidney filtration was functioning properly. GFR is functioning. I mean, everything that was wrong with me was now completely gone. Now, did I look skinny and frail? Did I lose all of my muscle? Yes, I did. But on paper and how I felt good. And on paper, I didn't have none of the things that I went to the doctor and got diagnosed with.
Right.
And I did it without pharmaceuticals. And I did it through plant nutrition and fasting.
Right.
And that blew my mind, because at this point, it's like, this is not hearsay. This is me doing the experiment on myself, experiencing these things from myself and getting positive results.
As first person. Now, when you went through that and you got those results,
Mhm.
you said it blew your mind. So your mindset, obviously shifted. Like, man, what I'm doing and everything that I've listened to and read online is working. Now, how did everybody else around you, family members, friends in the inner city? Because, listen, I grew up in the inner city,
Yeah.
and one of the things that you mentioned, you said that you had to focus on diet.
Yeah.
That's a very rough word when you're utilizing that with people who have never even thought about what a diet is.
Mhm.
So how did everybody else kind of take it when you came back and says, hey, look at the news?
Yeah, so that was just wild. Some didn't believe it, and then our people, even if they see it, sometimes they don't believe it. It's just a part of how our culture has been programmed. So what I did was I started telling people, look, I can do the same thing for you. I'll create you a diet program. I'll create you a herbal program, and then I'll put you on it. And then you tell me how you feel when you're done, and you go back to your
Right.
doctor and you see if everything is gone. So the first person I started off on was my mother. My mother had hypertension. My mother had, she was pre-diabetic. She had some things going on with her. And then her boyfriend at the time had it. So they did the same program I did. They didn't do as long, but she got off of her hypertension medication too. So from there, I remember I was running around with a gang. All of them had things going on because we eating the same food, drinking the same things, snorting the same cocaine. We doing all of the same
Right.
things. So I started helping out them in the community, and they was getting rid of their issues and stuff too. And after that, I had basically, I don't want to say I healed someone, because our bodies have the innate healing mechanism itself. I helped facilitate the healing to someone, and I didn't know that he knew a basketball player, and the basketball player had herpes. So we put him on a program, and we put him on a detoxification program that basically got rid of parasites. And he ended up testing negative on his 1 and 2, even though he was positive before.
Wow.
So that's what started, and that's how I really blew up, because he was connected to the music industry and connected to the movie industry, the theater industry. And once he tested negative, he like, look, I think you need to be bigger. So he gave me a bunch of money. He set up my first seminar and lecture. He did all of this for me. And then he introduced me to a lot of big people names in the industry.
Okay.
So I blew up in the industry before I blew up in the community.
Wow.
So, I was running around with Tiffany Haddish and everybody, all of these big name industry personnels, but didn't too many people know me in the actual streets, because that's where I was.
Right.
And then I started doing podcasts and YouTube and Facebook, and every Tuesday I used to go live and just talk about what my body experienced. And I looked up a couple of years later, I had millions of followers, and I started the herbal company, and we started making millions off of flying to people, because that was my service. You call me, I will fly to you. You don't even have to come to me. At this point, I didn't have a facility or nothing. And then, you look up all this hard work, and you in your work, you in your studies, you don't even realize what you've built, because you actively building.
Right.
So it had me, I had to sit back and say, all this happened just because I had that heart attack, or let me say I attacked my heart.
Right.
Because my heart didn't attack me. I did my body wrong. And me reversing that and just treating my body right and going back to the fundamental practices and laws of nature have built all of these things.
Wow.
Then look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
By treating your body right and loving yourself and choosing to put you and your patients first, it's success that come with that. And I'm not just talking about monetary. You can see it. It's a shine on you. It's a halo that we walk around with.
It really is. It's in my opinion, it's one of the most rewarding things.
It is.
That I can do.
Yeah.
It's powerful when you could actually see someone actually go out, hang out with their kids, play ball with their kids.
Yes.
Be able to walk again.
Yes.
It's a huge difference. It's an impact that's not just impacting one person, it's impacting several people.
Yeah, the whole family.
Family members,
yes.
and all of that stuff. So, and I remember, man, when you got online and you started, you just started going deep. And I don't know how it is. The algorithms hit me. And I remember the first time I saw your video, I was like, man, this dude is on to something.
Yeah.
He's speaking the language I've been hearing a lot of people in my inner circle talk about. And he's doing it in the city, in the inner city,
Yeah.
and that's information that a lot of people don't have access to,
Mm-hmm.
and you were giving them access,
Mm-hmm.
which I know you've had to go through a lot of ups and downs, because there's some governing bodies out there, and I'll say how it is, they don't want people to have access to that information.
No, they don't. They done took all of my channels from me. It's like a silence Dr. Yahki campaign right now. They take all of my content down. We'd have been followed around. And 1 year they tried to get us on taxes when we paid our taxes, just anything to slow me down. And I don't even think it's necessarily the intellect that come with the knowledge. It's me knowing who I am and knowing what I can do. You don't even have to know none of these big words. All you have to do is know the fundamental practices and the laws of nature, and have a gift to gather people, which is what I got. I have a gift to gather the city. That's just always been that way. With those three combined, I just think it's a threat to a lot of financial institutes that is, spewing the program, and that got our people eating these things that they're eating right now anyway.
I agree with that. We got to change that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We have to, it's our responsibility. It would be irresponsible us having the knowledge that we have not to put the pressure to change that from these bigger dogs that are doing that. And I think right now we're in a position with the new administration, the whole Make America Healthy Again movement, to really create some of that exposure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, get people to get the knowledge to start taking care of themselves.
Yeah. And I look at it like this. I was in the streets from 7 years old to 21 years old, really in the streets, involved in all types of activities that I shouldn't have been involved in, and willing to die for that belief and that perception that I had deeply rooted in me at that time.
Right.
If I'm willing to die, and if I'm willing to do all of this for a negative cause, then that means I need to go 10 times harder when it comes to a positive cause in saving lives. I'm around here damaging lives. So I need to put that much energy times 10 into saving lives. And that just give me a fuel, man, where I study. I experiment on myself. And then I apply that to self, and then I see how that work. And then now we have accredited laboratory in Houston, Texas. We have 2 detoxification healing centers, and I'm applying the methodologies, and we're seeing the same results that I got when I was 21. Right. So I mean, it is what it is. This is our divine purpose, and we can't shy away from it. So it's just like it is what it is.
No, I agree with that. I agree. So, Dr. Yahki, man, why is America so sick?
The first thing is the standard American diet, off back. That's why it's diet, it's programming, and the way we perceive ourselves. Like when you go to any other country, they actually have something called medicineless hospitals, where they're using biogenetics or bioenergetics to heal people. It was just a video I seen in India probably a month ago where this lady had a tumor on her spine, and she sat in the hospital bed, and it was 6 Indian doctors that came in. You thinking they finna do surgery, and guess what they did? They tapped into her bioelectrical magnetic field. They put their hands over her spinal cord, all 6 of them together, and all they did with one intent was said, "You are healed. You are healed." And they did it in such a rhythm. It was in such rhythm, and then they all became coherent. After 5 minutes of them saying "you were healed," you can watch in real time the tumor shrink in real time. And this is on YouTube if anybody just want to look at this.
What type of practice of medicine is that?
So I would call it energy healing. But if you look at any type of medicine, it's energy healing.
Okay.
You know, think about it. You putting people on a PEMF mat, post electrical magnetic frequency. It's to tap into the biofield. It's to mess with the magnetics of the body. So that's we're talking about energy. Whether you put somebody on a photobiomodulation bed, a light bed, we're still talking about photonic energy. A massage, it moves the fascia. The fascia is a conductor of these electrical energy impulses. So I think everything starts on an energetic, or what a lot of people will identify as a spiritual level first, and then it manifests itself into the physical realm. And that's how I truly learned how to heal myself and then help facilitate the healings of others. Until you change your mindset, nothing will happen. Right. Well, we can't. If I open up your brain right now and I can't read your thoughts, all I'm going to see is tissue and matter. So what is fueling that? And that's that energetic realm and frequency that I'm talking about. So what's wrong in America is the diet. Not only is the diet wrong, it's the programming. And not only is the programming wrong, it is how our doctors are taught to be doctors. Like, for instance, I'll write in my book, Healing the Illusion We Call Disease, they said out of the whole 9 years of a doctor getting all of this study in to become a clinical doctor and a physician at its practice, they only receive about 3 to 5% of nutritional classes, man. Yeah. And that is heartbreaking, really. You've been in school that long, and I'm not blaming the doctors. It's the way the facility and the institutes have set up the curriculum.
It's the system.
It's the system.
Yeah, it's a pharmaceutical-driven system.
Yeah.
Right. And when you go back to the Rockefellers,
right,
when they put the whole school of medicine together and everything else, that's what it is. So, and that's scary when you start talking to a lot of these MDs and DOs, and they got 3 weeks of nutrition. And so, like, what are you getting in 3 weeks?
Out of 9 years, though, man, 3 weeks. That is crazy to me, man.
When you're looking at the metabolic pathways and you're going into the actual body's biochemistry system, we run off of these nutrients.
Yes. Yeah.
Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, all that stuff. Our bodies function on that.
Yeah.
And one of the parts that get me the most is, like, even when I did emergency medicine, you start looking at all the antidysrhythmics and everything else. Because, I started, when I started the IV therapy business, I was still at the fire department.
Yeah.
And I started looking, I was like, man, hold on a second. I'm putting magnesium chloride, I'm putting adenosine monophosphate, I'm putting,
glutathione.
Calcium.
Yeah.
This is all the stuff that I'm giving in the ER to patients that are dying, that have gone into cardiac arrest.
Exactly.
Sodium bicarbonate. These are all things that are natural,
Yeah.
but we're labeling them as a pharmaceutical. So obviously, it's doing something where it's actually even reviving or bringing your your heart rhythm back to the homeostasis,
Yeah.
normal sinus rhythm,
Yeah.
right? So it's unfortunate that these doctors are not learning nutrition the way they should be learning
Yeah.
it. So now, one of the things that you just brought up, man, you're talking about energy,
Mm-hmm.
right, and the different frequencies. And some people they'll start will lose them a little bit
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like the frequencies. And in my opinion, that's the future of medicine.
Yeah, I mean
Bioquantum.
everything comes with a frequency. I mean everything. These cameras, these wall outlets.
Everything.
We talking about
Right.
electricity. We talking about photons, electrons, protons. All of these are a part of an energetic field that and quantum mechanics and quantum computers are now even verifying all of this stuff.
Right.
Everything starts off in this energetic field. I mean, even when you like, for instance, minerals, the same minerals that we need, they are cations and anions.
Right.
And when you start getting into cations and anions, it traces back to what? Energetic. Some have a positive charge, some have a negative charge.
Right.
It's charged by what?
Yeah.
So when you really look at biochemistry, human biology, plant biology, marine biology, the basis of it is still energetic. It's just that it's not taught from that standpoint in America. But when you go anywhere else in the world, and I'm not going to say anywhere else, but when you go to most places in the world, especially in the Eastern Hemisphere, they teach these principles that, the energy or the spirit, the mind and emotions and ego and the flesh, or what we'll call the human body, is entangled. It's all in one.
Right.
And that's why you can see they have something called psychoneuroimmunology. What do that mean? Psychoneuroimmunology. That means that my mindset and whether I'm in a state of psychosis or not will have a functional belief or a functional influence on my cells. And Dr. Bruce Lipton talk about this all the time. The biology of belief. You can believe something that changed the molecule of your molecular structure, and these are documented. So.
Dr. Joe Dispenza talks
And
about that.
Dr. Joe Dispenza as well. In his book, he got one called Becoming Supernatural.
Right.
And you start reading these books and you start looking up the paperwork, and then you start seeing, they haven't been talking about, psychoneuroimmunology. They only been talking about this for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So these are new concepts that ancient scrolls and books been talking about for thousands of years, but modern day science is just now catching up to it. And we have to understand that emotions have a chemical effect on the body. When you mad and when you angry, that's epinephrine. When you in a state of fight or flight, there's neuroepinephrine, and that's adrenaline. That's by the adrenal glands. When you're binding to your significant other and you falling in love, that's oxytocin. When you learning something and you feel good, that's serotonin. That's a dopamine response. That actually feeds the reward center of the brain. So all of these energy emotions, where we get emotions from, have a biological and a molecular chemical exchange with the body. So if you can tap into the energetic part, sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes you don't need to put in herbs and things like that. You tap into the energetic part, you find that emotion, you believe in it, and then you express how you would feel if it already had happened, and then you start doing the things that you need to do, like detoxification, changing up your diet, and you start seeing immediate changes in your body.
Right.
And we see it all the time. So, back to what you said, what's wrong with America, I think it's the mindset. And it's funny when you start reading into ancient literature, they call America Babylon, and Babylon in the Hebrew tongue, it means to babble. It means to be confused, to turn backwards. And that's what's going on. So I think we need to return this the right way. And another word to mean to turn back or go the right way is actually repent. So in essence, it's kind of like America needs to repent. We need to turn back, because right now we're in a Babylon stage, which means to babble or means to confuse. The first thing anybody should do when they find out that something is not going right with their body, they need to sit down and examine, what am I bringing into my body? And I'm talking about food for thought first. What are you bringing into your cipher? What are you bringing into your senses, in your mind? Then after that, what am I putting in my physical avatar? And then once you see that these things are not on the same energetics that you're operating on, it's time to change them.
Right.
And this is from my own personal testimonies. I have literally detoxed over 150,000 people. Over 150,000 documented through groups, through retreats, and through the thousands that come into my clinic physically. And what we see is a lot of people come in and don't heal or don't receive what they want is because of their mindset. We had a man come in the facility probably like 2 months ago, and he kept saying, I'm a dead man walking. He had prostate cancer. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. And Nabi, my assistant, had to tell him, like, you keep talking like that, that's going to be your reality. You know, I'm losing all of this weight. No, just start changing these things. And then the whole concept of disease need to be talked about with America. What is the concept of disease and how did we come up with these terminologies? Because the more and more I research and the more I do my experiments, it's turning out that disease is not what is being said it is.
All right. So we're going to go deep on this one. So, but to finish off on what you're talking about, would you say that the first step in healing is a shift in mindset?
Gotta be the shift of mindset. And I tell people, this is what I tell my clients all the time. Because all of the people that come to my facility fly there. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. There's nothing to really do in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you want to come see me, you have to have the will to want to live to come see me. Based off my name, my reputation, and all of the good healing testimonies. There's thousands of them out there. So the first thing I say, they come in crying, head down. You know, they just in this sad state. I say, put your chin up. The hard part done. You believed enough in yourself and in these methodologies that you spent all this money getting to me. You hear?
Yeah, right.
And once they start changing their perception and looking at it that way, now the healing begin.
Right.
Because your mindset can be to the point where you put so much cortisol and stress on your body, you shut down detoxification and metabolic pathways.
Right.
Meaning I could put as many herbs in you as I want, but since you have and you are in such a state of fight or flight, and cortisol is so high, guess what cortisol do? Brings on insulin resistance. You see what I'm saying? It stops you from absorbing. So now you malabsorb.
Right.
It shuts down the kidneys because the adrenals are too focused on the state of fight or flight. It's not worried about filtrating toxins. You know, it takes the blood away from all of your extremities. I mean, all of the center, which is your gut, and it put it in your extremities because you either fighting or you running for your life.
It's like this defense mechanism.
And cells can't do the same thing. Cells cannot defend themselves and grow at the same time. They choose one, and they're going to choose survival. It's called adaptation. They're going to choose survival mode. So now you're not growing.
Right.
And once we get into this conversation, like it makes so much sense. So the first thing I try to go after is the mindset, is the programming. Once the reprogramming come, the herbs is the easy part. And a lot of people think herbs heal. Herbs do not heal. The body heals itself. What herbs do is herbs tone, they strengthen, and they help influence detoxification. But the herbs don't detox you. The herbs connect with enzymes, and the enzymes that's already within your molecular structure turn on these detoxification pathways.
So let me ask you this. Would you say the herbs are signaling?
That's all energetic signaling. Right. And when you look at herbs, what are you looking at the herbs for? The nutritions, the protons, the electrons, the neutrons, the enzymes. Same thing as in food. And then a lot of people disassociate herbs with food. And it's like, well, all herbs is dried vegetables. So once you really start just looking at it, not from a scientific lens, but you take your intellectual cap off and you just go in nature and you be real simplistic about it. Healing is simple.
It really is.
We making it hard, man.
Dr. Yahki, we're talking about the mindset shift. Would you say that stress can kill somebody?
Stress does kill. Stress kills.
Is there a difference between good stress and bad stress?
The body needs stress. Stress is very, very important as well. For instance, when you wake up at 6 a.m., when the sun come out, that's blue light spectrum that's coming from the actual sun.
Right.
That's a stress hormone. At 6 a.m., from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., cortisol rise. And the reason why cortisol rise, because it works with serotonin. This is what makes you serious. This is where you get serotonin from. It makes you serious. Right. Then the cortisol starts tapering off and declining during the day for melatonin can come in and make you mellow for you can go to sleep. So, you need cortisol. Cortisol is very, very essential for the body. And if I'm in the wilderness and I see a lion or a tiger and bear, I will hope that my adrenals will know how to release a bunch of cortisol for I can go.
Right.
You know, so you need it for fight or flight, but you're not supposed to be in fight or flight the whole time.
Right.
Cortisol is one of the most leading cause to what I would say, you know, I got to do quote unquote disease than anything else. And if you look at the program and the 9 to 5s that they got us in, you look at the rat race that they got us on, we chasing money to pay bills and we never happy. We working to be 60 to just get a small thing that they call a pension or retirement. They're putting us in these cubicles away from the natural sun. We can't go through natural biophotomodulation. We drinking contaminated water. All of our foods got microplastics in it. And let's not even talk about the seed oil epidemic that is killing, that is really fueling heart disease.
Yep.
You know, really it's really the way we cooking our food and using these seed oils, very rancid, very rancid. So when you look at it from that standpoint, our body is constantly fighting.
Right.
So we in a state of fight or flight 24 hours out of the day, when technically, according to the circadian rhythm, you only supposed to be in a light stage of fight or flight for 2 to 4 hours a day, unless you in the wilderness and you're running from your life. So insulin resistance kick in, the glycocalyx and the glycobiome, or what you'll call the microbiome, get very disrupted. You know, you start getting all of these different symptomologies, and then what we do is we run to the doctor to get our symptomologies checked out, and they will give a name to those symptomologies called a disease. But if you look at what the body's doing, the body is constantly trying to recalibrate and regulate itself, which is a healing mechanism, a healing response.
Well, let's talk about this stress hormone, the cortisol that we're talking about, because you brought up the blue light first thing in the morning.
Yes.
Stimulates cortisol production, right? Gets you going.
Yes.
But we got a bunch of other artificial blue light that's
Yes.
stimulating us all day, all night.
Yes.
You know, the screens. I mean, the casinos were onto it very early,
Right.
right? With all the slot machines and all the blue light, you're up all night gambling because of that. So, you know, I'm seeing people wearing the yellow glasses.
Yeah, blue light blocking glasses.
Right. And then the orange, and then at night, the red ones that block almost 99% of blue light. What's your input on that?
I like the blue light blocking glasses. I don't think all of them are very, very effective, but the ideology behind it, and there is some that test out in clinical trials, I think it worked. But the best thing is, instead of creating all of these technologies, and this is coming from a person that love healing technologies, I got a clinic full of them.
Right.
But I think first resort should always be go back into nature.
Right.
So get back on the circadian rhythm clock, because each of your cells have biological clocks in them that the creator set it up for. In my book, Healing Illusion We Call Disease, there's a section called Dr. Yaki's Healing and Protocol Schedule. And it breaks down the circadian rhythm from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m., 24 hours and what you're supposed to be doing. So I think them are cool to do, but how about this? Rise when the sun rise.
Right.
Go down when the sun go down. And then if you gotta stay up late, use candles, something that gives a natural red hue that come from it. Now you don't have to be spending all this extra money on glasses, and they might not work. And you can get your body back in the rhythmatic frequency with the earth, because the earth is on her circadian rhythm. The sun rises and sets every day at the same time. Man change time, but the sun don't change time. It goes up on the east and it sets on the west every day at the same time. So these are the things that we need to be doing. We need to be cleaving onto the natural governing bodies of the earth, and we'll see that we'll heal much faster. Now, you got people that don't have access like that, and that's where me and you come in at, our technologies.
Right.
You know, you can't get in the sun, or it's cold outside, and, you know, melanated beings like us, brown and light brown, dark brown and light brown people, we need sunlight more. Biophotomodulation, come get in my light bed. You know, things like that. But I'm going to always push naturalism first. Go outside, get back into nature, and get familiar with where you come from.
I'm going to put some emphasis on one of the things that you said about going out and getting that first sunlight in the morning.
Yes.
Me personally, when I started doing that, the type of energy that I get beats any cup of coffee that you can imagine. You just get awake and you just feel it. It's just like in your body.
Yep.
And if no one has ever done that, my recommendation is try it out for a week.
Yep, do it a week. And black and brown people, so-called black and brown people, do it longer, because your melanin pigment content, you need more sunlight than any other species or race, or so-called race, because that's a made-up terminology, on Earth, and actually our melanin, the way it converts sunlight, it does it very different. So we see a lot, like when you look at vitamin D deficiency, it is very, very prevalent among Black people because we're not in the sun enough. So a Caucasian or a fair skinned person can go out there 15, 20 minutes and boom, cholesterol, vitamin D, they producing everything they need to do by the sun. Benzene rings, all the chromophores are really eating that sun. We go out there and we try to be out there for the same 15, 20 minutes and we're not getting anything. So
About how long should people be out there for?
so I say for any fair skin, anybody that's light brown, 20 to 30 minutes to an hour, perfect. But when I'm talking about, more pigmentations of you and I, at least an hour a day, at least an hour or more
Go
a
out
day.
there, read a book. Do
Read a
whatever
book.
You interesting thing, man. I had Dr. Patrick Porter. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I'm familiar.
So Dr. Patrick Porter, he brought something up, and he says the sun is the mitochondria of our universe.
Yes, it is.
It charges everyone up, every plant.
Mhm.
It charges it up.
Yeah.
And when people don't know what the mitochondria is, we're going to get into that in a minute. But I want to start getting into your topic of defining what disease is.
Yes. So you have two different definitions of dis-ease. I agree with the first one. The first dis-ease is I am not at ease. The energy that my body produces by way of the mitochondria, and that's not the only way your body produces energy, but we'll talk about this one for now, it's not able to flow easily or it's not easily accessible. So I'm at dis-ease. I love that one. But when we start putting names on symptoms and calling it heart dis-ease, and if you do it with the first definition, it makes total sense. But when you start talking about like the non-functioning parts of these diseases and then you're blaming it on things, it just, to me, it takes the accountability away from the person, because all the diseases, the so-called disease that happens to us, is because of us. Right. Like I said, I didn't have a heart attack. I literally attacked my own heart. But if I came in with the perception and perceiving it as, and I had a heart attack, then now is woe is me, and I need the doctors, and I can't do nothing to help myself. Right. But if I know I did this to myself, I'm the one who snorted the cocaine. I'm the one who was smoking cigarettes and smoking weed and marijuana, drinking Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and eating all of these meats and all of these things I'm not supposed to be putting in my body. Eventually, those things built up. I never changed my diet, so accumulation happened. Right. Now, since all of these accumulated toxins are in me, now I am cellularly congested. Now, since I'm cellularly congested, my mitochondria cannot make so our whole body. The whole point of the mitochondria, which is there's many different points, but his entire point is to take glucose and fructose, if we break down glycolysis, and turn it into water. And this water, which I'm going to call H3O2, and I know a lot of people, they don't like Dr. Gerald Pollack work and talking about the phase water, H3O2 enzyme water, which is very, very brilliant. And it's conducted by sunlight, by the way. Y'all really need to look it up. Mm-hmm. But the whole point and purpose of mitochondria is to take sugar, whether we talking about simple monosaccharides or complex saccharides, and it's to convert it into water. This water is then used as a fuel, a phosphate, a fuel to actually give the body energy to burn off. Right. What disease is that energy not being able to make it to the cells for these cells can do their job. And you start seeing discharge, which is ADP, adenosine diphosphate. Right. And it's kind of like you having a car. You get you a Ferrari, you're going to put premium gas in it, right? Right. So if you get you a Ferrari and you pull up to the gas station, which is the diner hall, to go eat some food, and you put what you call it, unleaded fuel in it, or if you put diesel fuel in it, the car won't even start up sometimes. Right. And that's what's happening to our people. So since that is happening, what we have been trained to do is go to the doctor from the symptoms of our car not being able to start. And they say, well, this is blase, this is blase. They're not telling you the mechanism. Right. And that's what I mean. So when I say disease is an illusion, I'm not sitting here saying that your issue don't exist. For one, it'd be very insensitive of me, and it's not that. And two, that'd be ignoring an obvious issue, because people are suffering from issues. Right. my whole point is to change your perception and change the way you perceive what disease is. So when I say illusion, I mean illusion as in trickery, falsehood. Not saying that your issue don't exist, but saying there's a different way that you can view this for it can be on your side rather than it being against you. And for instance, so if all disease starts with hypoxia. That's all disease is a state of hypoxia. The body is lacking oxygen. And then you start looking at the electronics transport chain, which we're talking about how mitochondria take glucose and then make it into water. When you look at the fourth stage process of that, you need oxygen to actually convert the glucose over into water. And that's what most people are missing, especially when you start diving into cancer and you look at metabolic acidosis. We are not producing enough energy to turn on our cells for them to do their specific jobs and functions. So what is happening there? Now you have to find out, okay, I got a state of hypoxia because of what? Usually it's because something is oxidizing, too much oxidation, too much free radical damage. Well, where is the free radical damage coming from? Well, what oxidizing the body the quickest? Now you got to start looking at foods. What am I bringing into my environment? Environmental toxins. So let me shut out the environmental toxins. What about my water? Let me make sure I get me a kegging machine or something that can clean my water.
These are all the external factors that we got to take into consideration.
All because the whole thing is, and I tell my clients this all the time. We have to take bit by bits out or all of it at once to see what the issue is, because I haven't been in your body for 34 to 50 years. You've been in your body walking around. Right. I'm just now meeting you. You know me and you feel like you know me personally because I got millions of followers and you listen to me religiously every day. But now in order for us to get to know each other during my consultations, I don't even ask you what you ate. I'm finna find out. This is, let's take you on I want to get to know you for 30 days. As these 30 days, let's start changing your environment and taking everything out. And it can be something simple as an environmental pollutant like cologne and perfume that can be causing endocrine disruptor. Yeah. And you got a low thyroid activity. Your T3 and T4s are not functioning properly. And you thinking that something is really wrong because you got this Gordon mass on your thyroid. And the whole time it's your perfume and your cologne that could contribute to your issue. Right. So these are the things I'm talking about. We need to reprogram ourselves. Back in the biblical days or in the ancient days, they used natural oils and saps and maple and things like that from the earth, flowers. They didn't mix all of these chemicals.
Now it's a bunch of chemicals. Now, Dr. Yahki, because, obviously we're talking about disease, right? And one of the things that I try to coach people on, and I want to get your input on it, is people are not going to eliminate all of these external toxic factors that are in their life. And there's some that we can't even run away from.
Forever chemicals, man.
They're there.
Chemtrails. Yeah, you're right.
So it's not just about treating disease, it's also about preventing disease, right? So what do you recommend when it comes to enhancing the detox pathways to be able to get rid of a lot of these external factors that we're talking about?
I would say eating alkaline forming food, because there's really there's no such thing as alkaline food. The food have to go through methylation once it get through your body, and then you create an alkaline ash or acidic ash based off the mineral content that you believe behind. So eating food that favors alkalinity, natural fruits, vegetables, nuts, herbs, things of that sort. So changing your diet, eating food that agrees with your biology. And everybody's biology is different when you talk about species and subspecies. Like, for instance, when you get into Caucasians, on an average, not as an individual, but on an average, they tend to have higher gastro juices than us. Their hydrochloric acid is hotter than ours. It's more higher. So they're able to break down meat. So they would thrive off a carnivore ketogenic diet. You see them thrive. But then you would get so-called Black African American that come to my clinic that tried the same diet. His kidneys are failing and he's leaking proteins because his body couldn't deal with all of the complex amino acids that came from that high ketogenic diet. So now you can do high ketogenic, but you have to do high ketogenic plant-based, and you see it'll work out. So when you start really, looking at what's going on, it's our bodies trying to heal itself. We have been taught and we have been educated on this fact. You have symptoms, your body is not working right, this is the disease. We never been taught to sit down and say, let me study the physiology and the mechanism behind this disease and see what's happening to my body. And when you do it that way, you be like, hold on, this is my body actually helping me. When somebody sneeze, chew, there's particles that is coming out your nasal passage.
Right.
These particles are not supposed to be inside of you because it can get in your sphenoid, the ethnoid, the maxillary cavities of your, and it can cause a dysfunction and it causes hypoxia. Right. So the body want to maintain that, especially the brain. It want to maintain all of that oxygen for you can think straight. So if anything get inside your nose, the first protection is you have nose or nasal hairs.
Right.
That keeps these particles. But if it make it past that, then you're going to get this reflux to sneeze, chew. That is to get toxins out of your airways. A cough is to break up something or mucus, usually it's mucus and phlegm that is solidifying inside of the chest cavity wall. So when you cough, you feel a tension here to break that thing, to break it up, and then you're going to get a mucus in your throat, spit it out. So a cough, and these are all the things that say are symptoms of viruses and disease. Skin outbreaks. If I put you on a liver, you can have the most beautiful skin in the world. If I put you on a liver detox and a parasite detox right now, you're going to have the worst skin for about 6 months. Wow. The reason why is most people, especially in America, kidneys and adrenals are not functioning properly. We know that the kidney is the skin is the third kidney. So if your kidneys are not functioning properly and you're not opening up metabolic and detoxification pathways and you can't urinate all of these metabolic waste out, guess what your skin do? It act as a third kidney and it start coming through the skin. But they say you have psoriasis. They say you have all type of derm issues. Something's going on with the epiderm, the endo. Something is going on with your skin. But no, my skin is literally taking a poop for me. Right. All I got to do now is just go to the sauna and we can speed this process up.
See, these are very interesting things that you're bringing up. And I want people to realize, like when you go to your regular general practitioner, doctor, and they're doing a full body assessment on you, which if they even do that in today's world, a lot of the things that you're talking about when you're assessing your body and understanding how the body works, and you start looking at the difference between Western and Eastern medicine, right? When you look at a practitioner who understands Eastern medicine, they're looking at these things. They're understanding what phlegm is, right? The cooling mechanism of what it's doing.
Exactly.
They're looking at the tongue. They're looking at the nail beds, right?
Yes.
They're looking at the eyes,
the
skin.
All of it.
All of those things to me are critical when you're trying to understand the body. And you're breaking them down and explaining it. But most people, even the medical providers that are now getting sick and tired of conventional medicine and dabbling over to this side, they're starting to realize, but they're still not even there yet. But those things that you're talking about are extremely important.
That's the first thing I do when you come into my facility. Do you come to Dr. Yakai's Detoxification Health and Wellness Facility? The first thing that we do, before I check your eyes and anything, open your mouth. Let me see your teeth.
Right.
I want to check the teeth because, a lot of people, they try to dispel meridian pathways, but they exist. It's a study where they injected technetium M99 into several people, and a lot of these pathways, or what you'll call meridian lines, actually popped up. They put a luminescent ink inside. It's called technetium M99, I believe. Y'all look it up. And they found these pathways, and you start looking at teeth inside of people's mouths that are rotten, or they're going through like periodontal disease. They have cavitations and caries on them, and then you look at the teeth depending on what meridian line it sits on, and boom, prostate cancer. Then you start looking at the tooth. Okay, this tooth is connected to the prostate meridian. Breast cancer. You start looking at the teeth in the woman. Hold on, this tooth is connected to the breast meridian. Wow. So it's like you start looking at the mouth, and you really be like, hold on, my mouth is the entryway to my body. How I speak and communicate is with my mouth. How I eat is through my mouth. So let's start there first. So when you come to our facility, the first thing I look at is your mouth. And this is a fact. And this is common Google. There are so many diseases, heart disease cases that's connected with poor oral hygiene.
Oh, yeah. The leading cause of heart disease is gum disease.
It's gum disease. So this is not me just speaking from a place of I'm not talking out the side of my
Right.
neck here. So, and then you see when you go to a biological dentist who learn the way we learn. Well, we learn both ways.
There's a lot more popping up now, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. But when you take them to a biological dentist, they get the mercury removed, they get the teeth pulled because of these failed root canals. They start cleaning up and straightening up their oral hygiene. The other symptomologies go away.
Right.
So what does that mean? So is that really disease, or is my mouth pH so low? I don't have the bacteria I need in my mouth, and my mouth can't detoxify itself anymore. So now all of this stagnation, solidification, and accumulation of toxins is in these spots. And now bacteria, who get blamed for everything, they get blamed. And when they are really our helpers,
Right.
now we're going to blame the bacteria for being there. But, the bacteria is only there when they have something to eat.
Right.
It's kind of like you used to be a firefighter, and every time I see you, there's a fire. What I'm gonna look, hey, he's a hero. He's saving lives. But from the medical industry standpoint, you starting the fires.
You're right.
That's
crazy.
basically-
That's crazy when you think about it.
So, and that's
Right.
viruses are being blamed for all these things. Bacteria are being blamed, and you start looking at viruses. Do you know we cannot exist without viruses? Viruses help protect us, same as bacteria, same as all these things. So, it's going to come to a point, and it's getting there. Thank God it finally is. Where we're going to have to really sit down and ask very, very hard questions, and we need serious answers.
Right.
Serious answers, and one of the ones is on cancer, high cholesterol. Is cholesterol really bad for people? The study I read on it blew my mind. How people die younger with low cholesterol, and people with the highest cholesterol
Let's talk
live
about that.
longer.
Because my partner, Dr. Christopher Davis, who's an interventional cardiologist,
Yes.
he speaks about it. He says cholesterol isn't bad for you.
No.
Cholesterol isn't the issue for heart disease.
Yeah.
And he'll go deep on it. So what's your input on that?
Cholesterol is essential. Cholesterol is just as important as water and food.
Right.
Without cholesterol, you technically have no brain, because your brain is built off of cholesterol. Without cholesterol, you have no cellular membrane, because your cellular membrane, the protective layer that protects every 50 to 150 trillion cells in your body, is made with cholesterol to help protect that. Without cholesterol, you have you don't have estrogen, you don't have pregnenolone, you don't have progesterone, you don't have testosterone. These are your baby making chemistry.
Right.
So these are your baby making steroids. With cholesterol, you don't have steroids. With cholesterol, cholesterol is one of the building blocks of biological. It's one of the building blocks of life. So, and then when you look at the way your brain communicate through melanin neurotransmitters by way of what? Cholesterol. Cholesterol is known as the body's internal, I'm going to say eternal, because we are eternal people, but I'm going to say eternal. People want to identify with internal, y'all can, but it's the body's eternal and internal scab. Right. So if something happens to the venous system or in your arteries and something get plugged, say just some leftover calcium is a calcite, it's a crystal, it can rip and tear the artery walls. What's going to happen is cholesterol is going to go patch up that area, kind of like you put a hole in the wall and you put putty there. Mm-hmm. The medical industry, that cholesterol caused the rip and tear and caused the narrowing of the actual arteries. A holistic thinker, hold on, that was used as a putty mechanism. It came to actually patch and repair. And then they don't look at calcium. So instead of blaming calcium and blaming the foods and blaming these rancid oils that we've been using, they automatically blame it on the cholesterol. Now, and it's another study shown, the higher your cholesterol, the less likely you are to get cancer. Wow. And this is stuff y'all can Google and just look up scholarly articles and really read through the articles.
The data's there.
It's so much now, and it's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's overwhelming.
They can't even hide it.
Yeah, and to the point now, right. The Heart of America Association is finally, we thinking about taking it out the literature. They just said that, 4 years ago? We thinking about taking it out the literature. Because do you know, because the whole picture was painted where most of this cholesterol comes from your food. Now it is scientifically proven that 85 to 90% of the cholesterol that's in your body is made by your own body. Mm-hmm. It don't even come from your food. So you start looking at these ancient tribes and culture in Africa that are carnivore type of people in Africa that eats nothing but meat. They're hunter-gatherers and they eat fish and they just eat all of these foods, pigs and stuff like that. But they have the lowest instance of of heart disease,
Right.
but they're eating the most cholesterol made food. And that's because most of your cholesterol, your body makes it. And the reason why it makes it and it goes higher or lower is depending on your terrain. We need to quit focusing on the symptomologies and start focusing on the root cause of these dysfunctional diseases that we call diseases happening in our body. And it is usually toxins. And I teach all of my students this. You have ingestion. Ingestion is before. It's a chapter in my book called Ingestion, even before the bite. Your mindset, how you choose to look at food, can tell me whether you're going to be in a disease state in the next 10 years.
Wow.
Because what they have found, they got scientists now making these ultra processed foods. They have bliss points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have something called palatable acoustics. Y'all look this up. Palatable acoustics, meaning that they know how to make a certain sound when you bite a chip that will turn on the reward centers in your brain.
Oh my God. Wow.
In a potato chip, and
Wow.
and you get addicted to the crunch. It's called palatable acoustics. Real word, real sound. And so you start seeing
That's like that, but with that candy bar too. The
yes,
crunch.
with the candy bar,
Yeah,
the crunch,
they
all
did
about
that.
the crunch.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is so in order for you to eat, you have to be hungry. What initiate this hunger response is usually the smell. You smell the food.
Right.
Usually you hear a commercial, or simply somebody say, I'm hungry and I want to eat, or you feel your stomach enzymes and you get hungry. What they have figured out is they beat you in between. So they learned how to hijack your sensory inputs and outputs. And basically they literally have a chart where a predictable chart of if I market this way, I know what they gonna eat. And I was watching a video showing how they built restaurants. And one of your biggest restaurant builder, they position the oven in the exhaust of the oven. They always put it outside of the building facing towards the most population, for you can smell it when you driving. Same things with McDonald's and the golden arches. They put it so high in the sky for you can see it. So it's like a bat signal. So you thinking
That's
you,
crazy.
so you ingestion, you thinking you want to ingest food because you're hungry, but they have played you and hijacked your sensory inputs and outputs and making you think you hungry. So you eat when they want you to eat. You don't eat when you really want to eat. Because if you really think about it, we do not be as hungry. Your stomach is the size of your fist.
Right.
3 meals a day is insane. That is insane.
Right.
Especially when you start learning health and you start learning about nutritional food, you start learning how to incorporate intermittent fasting, and you learn how they ate back, long back in the day, the indigenous people, how they ate. They never ate. In matter of fact, they couldn't eat that much because they were hunter-gatherers. If they was chasing meat, it probably, most of the time they couldn't get it because the animal was faster than them. So, they had to intermittent fast. When they wasn't intermittent fasting, they was eating grains and eating plants. These grains and plants was not GMO crops. It wasn't controlled by Monsanto. You see, it wasn't sprayed on with it wasn't sprayed on with herbicides, insecticides, or pesticides.
That's everything that's messing people up.
You see what I'm saying? And it wasn't fried. Back then, they did not have fried food. And in fact, if you go into nature, you will not see a gorilla take meat, kill it, skin it, and put it in a frying pan and put some canola oil on it. You just
It doesn't exist.
You
right?
won't see it. So. And then a beautiful thing about nature is our classroom. When you go into nature and you see these animals get sick, the first thing they do is fast. They don't eat anything. And if a dog gets sick, it fasts. After a day or two of fasting, it eat grass to throw up.
Yep.
So that's a detox. Okay, but they say vomiting, sneezing, coughing. They want to suppress it. It's called suppressive medical therapy. They want to give you a cough suppressant. I don't want to stop coughing.
No, that's your body's natural defense mechanism.
Yes, these are eliminative pathways. So if we see that a dog in nature or a gorilla in nature will make itself throw up, and these are called detoxification signals to me. Yeah. So why are we not doing the same thing? Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. So so my question to people is this. There's 2 ways that you can look at disease. You can look at disease as if it's killing you. You can look at disease like you won't beat this. Because now it's a fight. We're not fighting disease. Or you can embrace disease as my body have an innate intelligence. My body have an innate immune system in a way to cleanse itself. And these symptomologies that I'm feeling from natural detoxification, I have been taught as disease. But I'm going to block that out my head and I'm going to embrace these detoxification symptoms. If my body is vomiting, that means there's things in my gut that I need to get out. How about I help it? How about I drink some activated charcoal water to help it and bind these things up so I can get rid of it quicker? If you got diarrhea, it's coming out that end. How about I help that? How about I go on a fruit fast to get rid of everything, but make sure that I'm getting electrolytes in because I don't want to become dehydrated.
Right.
You know, if I'm coughing and sneezing, maybe I need to go to the sauna. If my skin is breaking out, maybe I need to do red light therapy, go into the sauna, or do cold therapy where I activate cold shock and heat shock proteins.
Right.
So what I'm saying is there's a different way that you can look at disease that'd be more beneficial than looking at disease like it just spontaneously came out of nowhere and picked you.
Right.
Because when you look at it that way, it is very, very depressing. You start cursing God, and then you start asking, why me? And now once you're in that belief, your body is fighting against you. So now in that ideology, you have to fight your body back. And what do you fight your body back with? Chemotherapy. You fight it. You get organs taken out that you didn't need to get taken out. You're getting all of these surgeries. And I'm not knocking the surgery community. I'm not extremist. If I get shot right now, I'm not going to take no herbs. Take me to the nearest hospital and give me the best surgery. So I want to put that out there. Yeah. But I'm just talking about the ideology and what you was talking about, preventive maintenance, for we don't even have to get to these points, and it's all in our perception in the way we perceive disease is. So if you look at disease as an illusion and you look at it as a friend, and I got a tumor, that's a trash bag. When you cut open these tumors, all the metabolic toxic waste is in them. The more waste you put in your body, the tumor grows.
Yep.
The more waste you get out of your body, the tumor shrinks. Mm-hmm. So, let me quit looking at this like it's a death sentence and praise this tumor, because if I probably wouldn't have lived this long if I didn't have this tumor. Now, you do have many cases where the tumor will obstruct and block blood flow that will kill you. Surgery, get it removed. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sitting here saying, be stupid. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying be smart and just think simplistically here.
No, yeah, you have to embrace what we're talking about here. You know, I like to break it into 3 categories, man. I break it into prevention, early detection, and treatment intervention.
Yes.
And you have to really look at all 3 of those.
Say that one more time.
Prevention, early detection, and treatment intervention.
Yeah.
And every single one has different things that you have to consider in every single, and all 3 of those. And you really want to try to stay on that prevention side.
Yes, right? It's way better. It's
way better. But then the early detection is important. But then most importantly, when we do detect something, that treatment intervention has to be right. Because if you go down the wrong path,
I agree,
you're going to stick in that treatment intervention side, and it's not going to be pretty.
Oh, man, we done seen some crazy stuff, especially with like detoxification. Like, for instance, a tumor. A tumor have a bunch of heavy metals in them. And that's the reason why, you know, we had a lady come into the clinic and she had cervical cancer. We had her on the protocol for about 90 days. And she ended up passing her cervical tumors in the bathroom. And, you know, me, I took them and I split them open, looked under them with my microscope. Right. And there was a bunch of parasites in them. Oh, wow. But I'm like, why is these parasites here? Because, you know, they blame parasites for everything. And you start looking at these parasites and they were hemith worms inside the tumor. But you check the mineral content in them, it was full of iron. And her iron was constantly low. So
but she pulling her iron.
She never had low iron. It's just the iron wasn't utilized properly throughout the bloodstream because it was caught up in her liver and it was stuck in these tumors. But guess who eat iron? Hemith worms. That's one of their main delicacies. Wow. So now it's starting to question this. Okay, is cancer parasites, or is parasites cancer? Do parasite cause cancer? Or is these are misdiagnoses? Is it really a parasite that's hiding in the nest, a fleshly nest that we call a sac, or you call a cyst, a tumor, a fibroid? Like, what's really going on here? Could it be all of them, what I just said, or could it be just one? And this is what I'm saying. Let's start questioning that. Right. I'm not saying we all have to have the right answer, but let's start studying to get to the right answer.
Right.
Because guess what? After we got those parasites out, she tested negative for cancer. Same thing that happened with the thyroid before. So, and then you start looking at these parasites. They only show up when the microbes are not doing their job. They said, look, I gave you enough time to get rid of this situation, to eat these things and biologically break down these toxins. You're not doing it. So now I'm finna send a mysobiofilm in. Mysobiofilm is basically a type of fungi. Fungi is known for eating up things, and fungi in the body eat a lot of microplastics. A lot of people don't know that. And we have a bad microplastic toxicity problem in America. So certain mushrooms will help you out with that. So after the microbes fail because you never change your diet, now you get fungal infections and fungal problems. You constantly call them infections and bad things, but it's the body trying to heal itself. After the fungus don't work, then you get the big boys. You get the fluke worms, the hook worms. And I'm not saying that all of these worms starts off in the body. You do have worms that you can get from your pets, walking barefooted on concrete ground, gardening. You can get a lot of these things from gardening because it's many ways they can get in. But most of these different, what they call parasites, are inside of our biological entities already. And I showed and proved this on my Instagram 100 times, just showing you your own blood and cells under a microscope. All of these different living entities that can pleomorph themselves depending on the state of your terrain to come help you out. So it's time to stop blaming our innate detoxification and healing mechanisms and start asking ourselves, why do we got them in the first place? And then that will create a clear plan and pathway on how to get rid of things. If I have a bunch of fungus in my body, that means that I'm insulin resistant, my blood sugar is high, I'm going through too much fermentation, and I have microplastic. So let me get rid of the microplastic. Let me lower my sugar intake, because usually the sugar intake is from processed sugars. I'm not talking about monosaccharides or disaccharides, which is the natural sugar that comes in your fruit and vegetables. Then once you start taking those things away, they don't have a job no more. So guess what they do? They leave. Right. Same thing that if you go on a fast for at least 21 days with water or nothing but fruit juices, you're going to poop out so many worms because you're not feeding them anymore. So I'm saying embrace what they call in these diseases is, and learn the mechanism and the physiology, and then help this so-called disease, because the disease is nothing but detoxification symptoms.
Right. Dr. Yahki, for the patient or even the medical provider who's listening to the podcast, that a patient is coming in and they have cancer and they're going through like a radiation or chemotherapy, and they don't want to stop doing the conventional
bladder
medicine.
rack. Yeah, bladder rack. I will instantly tell them to do bladder rack, charcoal. These are things. And then this is scientifically proven too.
Because there's support that these people should be going.
Yeah.
If they decide to keep on going through the chemotherapy, radiation, and I always say, listen, I'm not going to steer you away from it.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. You don't want to do that anyway. I don't want that problem.
Hey, the conventional medicine has its place, right?
Yeah.
It has science, it's that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things we could do while you do that.
Yeah, because you can, like, for instance, this is known fact, broccoli sprouts have something called sulforaphane in it.
Those are powerful.
And very powerful. You can smell, I get mine from a farm in Italy.
Now, we're talking about the phytonutrients, polyphenols, all that stuff.
Broccoli is one of the heaviest superfoods on this planet. Yeah. Hybrid and all, it still is. Yeah. But you can smell, mine is so pungent, you can smell it coming through the door. That's how strong it is. But like somebody that saying, look, Dr. Yahki, I want to do my chemo, I want to do my radiation, but I want to do both. I'm not going to turn you down. So what I can do is I can make sure that the chemo, because chemo is 100% derivative of mustard gas. Chemo is clinically known to cause cancer in the future because it burns the cells. These are facts. But what I've been seeing, Dr. Safri, that talks about the high, you got to get Safri on here. He talks about the high ketogenic diet. He's like the godfather of cancer now. He's in his study that he published, he's been noticing when he put his people on it's called post therapy. He put them on it's called push post therapy. He put them on high ketogenic diets, and with the high ketogenic diets, he add a bunch of sulforaphane and things like that to the diet. He noticed that actually it engulfs the chemotherapy and make the dosages lower to the cells. So you're not burning everything. Okay. So a person that comes to my facility and say, I want to still do chemotherapy and I want to do the bladder rack, I'm going to tell them the truth about what I've studied on it. And then I'm going to say, it's up to you. It's your ultimate decision, because I'm not your doctor. But if you're going to choose this way, make sure that you're getting bladderwrack. Bladderwrack is known to basically neutralizing radiation. So I'm gonna put you on bladderwrack capsules. I'm gonna make sure I get you on cruciferous vegetables, particularly broccoli sprouts. Broccoli, the bigger broccoli heads are good if you cut them in half, because you have to cut them in order to ignite that sulforaphane in them. And I think it's called glucoraphanase. Forgive me if I said that wrong. So sulforaphane and glucoraphanase. So, but I'm gonna say get on the cruciferous family. Eat a lot of broccoli sprouts. Another thing is the berry kingdom. High antioxidants, and I'm gonna tell you to eat them and juice them. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. Be careful with the strawberries; they're super contaminated, even the organic ones. So, but it's nothing to get in your garden and grow them yourself. You can grow strawberries on your sink if you wanted to. And these are the things that I'm going to tell you to do, and I'm going to keep encouraging infrared sauna. Chemotherapy, though, I would say keep it. Don't do it too high. Keep it low, because it can burn you when it's coming through your skin. So I say stay around that 120 range and don't go over 21 minutes, and do that 3 times a week. And so now, even though I'm not endorsing using these type of methodologies like chemotherapy and radiation, my following know how I feel about them.
Right.
But if that's your choice, you can do that. Plus, you can still do some things that lessen that will lessen the blowback or side effects of chemotherapy and radiation.
Well, and there's another thing that both you and I offer, that if you can afford it, the high dose vitamin C.
Yes, and
reduces that oxidative stress as well.
Intravenous high dose vitamin C is amazing. High dose. I don't know why people scared to talk about it. You ain't never supposed to say the high grams. I say 30 to 50,000 milligrams and higher is amazing. And they show I got a book called The Cure to All Diseases. And the man was in Germany, and he had his own clinic, and he studied on like 10,000 people, man, where he gave it to them by mouth and gave it to them intravenously. Oh, wow. And these people were getting rid of so many stuff. People with HIV, their CD4 count will rise up. They had test negative, but you know that means non-detective now. Right. But it was just showing how high dose vitamin C, which is a master antioxidant, along with melanin. And me personally, I think melanin is an even higher antioxidant than vitamin C. It's so, man, look, IV therapy is like the next wave. And I think they said IV therapy is predicted to do like $1 billion within the next couple of years, because that's how much it's taking it off. They come to your house now. You can find people that will pull up on you, registered nurses that will pull up on you just to give you these things. So, glutathione pushes. I love glutathione pushes. Get the liver activated, get the liver detoxifying. Definitely the high vitamin C. We have something called the B cocktail, where it gives you all your B vitamins. I just teach people to make sure that you know the sources of them, because a lot of them use tar derivatives, or what you would call oil derivatives, in the IVs. And one thing I do like about yours, when I came to your clinic, your high vitamin C came from a real natural source, which was the first time.
Tapioca based. It comes from the cassava root.
Yeah,
the ascorbic acid that we use, and that's important. What you're saying, and ours is preservative free too.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that next. When you broke that down to me, I looked at NIB. I said, yeah, we need to find different sources for our IVs, because that was the next step to me. I heard about it, but I never knew nobody that got the resources or the connections to get those, because 98% of them have oil tar derivatives in them. So I want to take my hat off to you for that. That's a beautiful thing that you got going on at your clinic. And by the way, again, your clinic was
now I got appointed as the chairman for the American IV Association.
Let me give you a handshake.
I appreciate it. Back in 2024. So I've been, I got all the top companies that have all the longevity clinics. They're on the board and whatnot. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to invite you. It's September 26th, the weekend of the 26th. We have what's called the Vibe Conference, Vitamin Infusion Business Expo.
Okay.
Which myself and a bunch of the CEOs in the IV therapy business, we put it together. We have everybody from Grant Cardone's company, 10X Health, Next Health, Dr. Dershan Shah, who's really big in the longevity space. 2 days. I'm actually the MC for the whole event.
Wow.
But listen, if you want to come, if you want to speak on the stage,
I'm there. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's done.
But yeah, so IV therapy, man, I got a soft part of my heart for it, because obviously I'm so involved in it. But Dr. Yahki, man, what you're doing, man, is you're really educating the masses. And that's one of the things that I love. And part of what you're doing also, you're exposing things that people need to be aware of.
Mhm.
Like earlier, you brought up, the American Heart Association in one of our conversations. And, you know, I know the American Heart Association is out there doing some good, right? I
Mhm.
don't want to take all of it away from it. But when you look at a box of Fruit Loops and it says,
Yes.
this has been approved by the American Heart Association,
Yes.
I got a problem with that.
And especially fortified Fruit Loops and just the whole fortification on iron oxide, zinc oxides, vitamin D,
Right.
synthetic vitamin D. It is the whole thing is crazy, and you start really looking at the real issue and problem. The real issue and problem is our soils have been stripped of all of their nutrients and minerals,
Right.
and that's why I think what we doing is very, very important, especially the IV therapy. Because now, if I can't get it from my food, I do need to supplement it. I mean, these are if it ain't gonna come from the food. And then, like, just thinking about the IV therapies too, most of the people that come see us, their digestive system is messed up. Remember, I was talking about ingestion. The next one was digestion. So if you're not able to digest, that means you can't absorb your food. If you can't absorb your food, you sure can't utilize your food.
Right.
And if you can't utilize your food, that means you're cellularly congested and you can't eliminate your food. So if somebody come to me and 99% of the issue is that they are not getting the nutrients in and they're malabsorbed, then I need to put it straight into your bloodstream anyway.
Right.
That way your cells can utilize it. But when I see things like the Heart Association, and they start putting their tags on Tyson chicken wings, and then you start studying, just the whole mindset behind Tyson chicken wings and their free range chicken, which they free range chicken that's supposed to be, free range and grown properly. And then you see what free range mean and the things, and then they have their name and they stamp on it. It just make you question
We have
everything.
to question
You
that.
got to.
You have to. 100%.
And that's what I'm here to tell the people. I'm not telling you to be, well, I guess I am telling you to be a rebel, but be a rebel in a more intelligent way though. Be a rebel by questioning everything, question every bite, question what's in your refrigerator, and question why you decided to buy that.
Right.
Because sensory hijacking is real. Palatable acoustics is real. The bliss point is real, where they figured out how to put the right amount of sugar and salt and fat ratio in your food, and you chew them, and they time the reward center, the dopamine receptor response.
Right.
And they say, this is the perfect chip. This is the perfect Snicker. This is the perfect junk food. And then they put those on the shelf. So question everything. And that's why I'm here. I mean, I know a lot of people, new people, they're going to see this. They're going to say, I've seen his face before, but they're going to say he got tattoos on his face, tattoos on his arms. He just admitted that he used to do drugs. He was into this and into that. I'm telling you from experience. So since and I'm associated with all those things, you know that I went down a hard path.
Right.
From that hard path, I completely changed my life. I went from hurting people to saving people. If you need to listen to anybody or let anybody inspire you to do better and to love yourself and put yourself first, I should be the one.
Right.
So instead of looking at me and saying I'm not listening to nobody that got tattoos on his face, it should be he got tattoos on his face and he talking about health and wellness and loving himself. Let me sit back and really listen to what he talking about.
Exactly.
And you will see that we have to question everything. These tats on my face is because I didn't question everything.
Right.
The heart attack I had is because I didn't question everything. The scar tissue on my liver is because I didn't question everything. The diabetes is because I didn't question. When I started questioning and started looking for answers, that's when I received my healing. Now I'm happy. I'm in a place of tranquility, and this is the mission to do that. But you can't get there unless you challenge yourself to challenge what we would call this system. You have to ask questions.
You have to. And I love that you said that about the tattoo on the face and everything else. And people know, the people that tune into the podcast, regardless if they're a medical provider, which we have thousands of them that tune in, or an end consumer who's just tuning in because they want to, dive deeper into health and wellness.
Yeah.
People know there's a reason why I dress the way I dress.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing a suit.
Yeah.
You never see me wear a suit. Initially, when I first got into the business, I was doing that. I said, you know what? Health and wellness should be hip and cool. It should be, people should be invited.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? And I got the fireman gear here So people understand, listen, I was on that side in a very professional way, saving people in the worst times.
Mhm.
But this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who you are.
Facts.
And we're seeing it. And we're making a difference
Mhm.
in many, many people
Yes.
around the globe.
Millions of people.
Yeah. So Dr. Yahki, you know, if there's one person listening to this podcast and they really resonate with today's message,
Mhm.
what is that one thing you can leave them off with?
One thing, it'll be my one thing would be this: ingestion, digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. If you focus on those 5 things, you won't get congested. And that congested means that you won't bring on toxicities and deficiencies, because that's going to force your body into a detoxification mode, which you will get all these symptoms off of, and you are already programmed to believe they diseases. So focus on your food, what you eating, go into nature, let nature be your classroom. Look at what nature is eating, and go and look at if you assimilate with a primate and you look like a primate because they can walk upright, they have arms like you, they have 5 fingers. See what they eating. Try to on that diet for a minute, see how it make your body feel. So I say let nature be your classroom. Love yourself, put yourself first, question everything, and cleanse your gut. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. And to finish off here, man, we got a big movement that's happening right
Mhm.
now called the MAHA movement,
Mhm.
Make America Healthy Again.
Yeah.
And there's a part that's very unfortunate is that people put politics behind
Mhm.
it. So, when you talk about Make America Healthy Again, it should be for everybody. It should be nonpartisan.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got RFK Jr.,
Mhm.
who's leading the way, which you already know from the years before he even got into this part. He's been fighting Monsanto's. He's been
Mhm.
suing all the big food
Yeah.
companies.
He a warrior.
He's been
He a
going
health
at
warrior.
it for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
long time. What are your thoughts on this whole Make America Healthy Again movement?
Beyond the politics, I think it's amazing. But of course, when something is big and you can see the future, all of the greedy ones is going to have, they input on it because they want to jump on the bandwagon. But I think it's good. The particular part that I really do like, since this is happening and since he is leading the forefront in the political world,
Right.
I've been noticing a lot. It's a lot less controversial to speak about things like that. We can speak confidently as a group. And me, they just got a niche for me. When you just got Dr.
We're going to
Yahki on
change
it.
that, though.
Yes. But as a group in the health and wellness industry, we can speak our minds more, and it can stay up on these channels, and it
Right.
can get promoted more, and people can listen to both sides of the story. There's been one side of the story that's been told for hundreds of years, and now we're reaching a breaking point where our side can be told now, and that's for people to think for themselves and make decisions for themselves. So that's what I think is a good thing, and I think it's going to be amazing. And where everything is going and all these healing technologies that we both have inside of our facilities, we see where it's going. So it's good that now we have many voices that's coming together, and we have the political side that's strengthening us and backing us with it too.
I love it. Thank you, brother.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Yahki, it was a pleasure having you here on the podcast. Your message is something that many people will resonate with, and they need to hear it. What you're doing is phenomenal. We need more of it. And I want to support you in any possible way that I can throughout your continued journey.
Mhm.
I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. Thank you for
Now, if
having
people
me.
want to find you, how can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Yahki Awakened, YAHKI AWAKENED. You can find me on Facebook at Yahki Rapha Elohim. Make sure that you get the actual blue check pages. There's a lot of people pretending to be me, a lot of people scamming using my face, and it's a lot of AI voiceovers. My website is www.yahkiawakened.com. If you see my face on a product and it don't go back to yahkiawakened.com, it is not me. There's so many people using my likeness and my name, man. I've been paying $100,000 a month to try to get this stuff rectified, but it's just not working right now. But Yahki Awakened, check the blue page. My website is www.yahkiawakened.com. My detox and wellness facility, 18,000 square feet. Big, humongous. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. Come check us out. 2402 North Highway 67, Florissant, Missouri, 63033.
I'm going to have to go check it out myself.
Yes, man, you're
So,
going to love it.
brother, I appreciate it.
I
And we'll have all the
appreciate you.
links down below.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Guys, you heard it from Dr. Yahki. The first step is changing that mindset. You have to be good with yourself before you decide to start healing. You can heal yourself. It's something we've seen it multiple different times, but you got to change that mindset. There's so many different avenues that you can go when it comes to healing yourself, but that mindset is number one. Guys, make sure you share this, follow, subscribe, do all the stuff that you got to do to get this message out there. And then we'll see you for the next one.